Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Angie with Harmony Yoga, and we're going to be going through a Vinyasa flow today. So starting with Surya Namaskar, sun salutation, celebrating the sun on the earth, and then moving through a nice Vinyasa flow, just letting our bodies move with our breath to feel really, really good, to feel really released, and just really let go with everything. And then before we start our practice, make sure that you have any creature comforts that you need, blocks, a blanket, anything to add support underneath the limbs if you need it. So if you don't have blocks, things that you can use are books. You can even take Tupperware and stack them up to create some elevation. So kind of take a moment, see if you can find the things that you need for your practice. And then when you have everything together, go ahead and meet me back on your mat. And while you're finding those things, I have a candle burning right now. And I've chosen lemongrass today. And lemongrass just really calls me. It has an amazing aroma. And lemongrass is really good at reducing stress, anxiety, and depression. So I think just the way things are right now, I think that's a really good aromatic for today's practice. So if you have a candle that's your favorite, you want to go ahead and let's go ahead and light some candles and just enjoy our practice. So once you have everything you need, go ahead and take a moment and just to start our practice, I'm going to breathe from soul to soul. So you can just come into a relaxed seated posture or come into a space on your mat. And I'm just going to read a little bit just to start our practice and ground. This too shall pass. Yoga has allowed me to slow down mentally. I was always rushing. My mind was always someplace else and I was missing it all. The play of light on the trees, a spider web wet with dew, the subtle messages from within. More and more now, I can simply be with what is. I'm happier and healthier. I'm a better mother to my children. When they spill the milk or come to me crying, my first thought now is, this too shall pass. More and more, everything is becoming a show to me, a show in technicolor. Everything passes, and what remains of former times, what remains of life is the spiritual. In everything we do, the claim of the absolute is unchanging. So wherever you are on your mat, let's go ahead and begin our practice in child's pose. So coming onto your mat and bringing the big toes together. The knees can be close together, wide apart, or somewhere in the middle. And then once you've found that just right space, begin to allow your sit bones to release toward your heels. We'll start with an active child's pose by walking the arms out in front, creating a little bit of space underneath the armpits and allowing our bodies to settle in. And then once you settle into this space, you begin to allow the chin, the forehead to settle on the earth. So we'll just start and take a few moments here walking arms away from the body. And then once you've come into that space, you can stay here. You can begin to bring the hands in prayer position behind the back of the head. You can release your arms to your side bodies, coming into a surrendering child's pose. You can also stack the hands and rest your forehead on your stacked hands. So you can pick one of those different positions that feels best to you right now. You maybe try one or all of them, and then come into that space that feels right for you. And take a few rounds of breath here, just settling into this practice. And we start first and foremost by just observing the natural rhythm of our breath right now. Observing how your breath is moving through your body. And as you begin to find that connection with the breath, I want you to begin to allow your breath to slow and deepen. Let it move deeper into the base of the lungs. And as you breathe, I want you to begin to create space in your body. So creating space by expanding the lungs from side to side and front to back, top to bottom. Draw the breath upward with heart space. And connected heart space, love, kindness, and compassion for yourself and others. And either audibly or silently release the breath, let it go. Again, I want you to take another nice deep breath, maybe allowing it to drop a little deeper into the base of the lungs. Again, inhaling, creating space in the body, drawing the breath upward, maybe reaching the base of the throat, pausing for a bit of breath retention, and audibly or silently release the breath, let it go. So we're going to move through a few more rounds of this deeper belly breathing.
And deeper belly breathing is really good for the parasympathetic nervous system. So that is our rest and digest. It allows our minds to calm, our bodies to calm, our muscles to relax. So taking time here before we begin our practice to really come into center. And as you continue to follow the ebb and flow of the breath, if you'd like to set an intention for your practice, for your day, for the week, now's an opportunity to do this. And an intention is anything meaningful to you that keeps your mind in focus. Maybe it's words of wisdom, motivation, kindness, compassion. Whatever it might be, take a pause and allow these words to form in your mind. As these words begin to form, they create an intention. And then I want you to take 3 more breaths at heart space. Each inhale drawing in the power and the positivity of your intention. And as you release the breath, I want you to share that positivity with the world. As you draw breath in, creating space in mind and body. And as you release the breath, sharing your intention, that positive vibrational energy with the world. We'll take 1 more breath here and really release it out. Oh yeah, let it go. Mindfully begin to walk yourself out of that position. We're going to bring ourselves into table position. And as we come into table position, we're going to come into neutral spine with the wrists directly underneath the shoulders, the knees about hip distance apart directly underneath the hips. We're going to come into some pelvic rocking just to create a little bit of fluidity in the lower body. So with pelvic rocking, the head, neck, and spine stay relatively neutral. They might move a bit with the movement of the lower body, but try to keep a neutral spine as much as you're able. As you inhale, begin to draw the pelvis toward the body, creating a slight tucking sensation to the tailbone. And as you exhale, send the pelvis away, recreating the natural curve of the spine. Inhale draws the pelvis forward. Exhale sends it away. Now as you move through a few rounds of this pelvic rocking, you'll begin to notice your core engage. So this is beginning to bring energy and focus into the lower abdominal region. So the lower abdominal region, finding the engagement of those muscles, is really good not only for your yoga practice, but it's also really good as you move through your daily life. So keeping a good, strong core is also really good for back strength and care. So strong core, strong spine, healthy body, healthy mind. Let's go ahead and move through a couple more rounds here, just following that natural ebb and flow. And the next time you breathe out, let's go ahead and come back into that neutral spine. From here, we're going to breathe into the lower abdominals and send the breath all the way up through the spine, 1 vertebra at a time, hollowing out the belly, gazing between the hands, and letting the crown release toward the earth. Take 1 more breath here, and with the next inhale, begin to draw the chest through the gate of the shoulders. Head and neck move with the spine. Pause here for a moment, and then we'll go ahead and continue on between those 2 different spaces, flowing between cat and cow, really feeling your own body, feeling the articulation of the spine. Move through 3 more rounds. Last 2. And last one here. And go ahead and bring it back into neutral spine. We're going to bring a little bit more movement into our practice. We're going to step the right leg back, drawing out through the heel of the foot, pressing the ball into the earth. Go ahead and drop your right hip down to square your hips to the front of your mat. Take a pause here and breathe. So really feeling the energy move out through the back line of the leg. Now you can stay here, or if you want to begin to add more to your practice, go ahead and raise that right leg up, directly out from the hip, toes pointing directly down. Draw in through the lower abdominals to engage the core, and then we'll begin to inhale the left arm out. Now you can stay with the left arm grounded if that feels better for you. As you inhale, expand out from the middle line, extending out through the fingers and the heel of the foot. Nice long line of energy, breathing in and breathing out. So a little bit longer holding time, really feeling the spine lengthen, feel your body strengthen here. 1 more breath here. And as you exhale, we'll begin to bend the elbow and the knee, drawing together, rounding under the body. Inhale, lengthen long. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, rounding it out one more time. We extend nice and long. Release the left hand down. Release the right hand or the right leg down. We'll center the left hand underneath the chin, and as you exhale, rotate to the right side of your mat, coming into supported side plank. Breathe in, breathe out. Now if you want to add more to your practice here, you can raise that back leg up, pressing out through the heel. Stay here once again, or reach for the ankle and look over the back shoulder as you're able. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Mindfully release. Rotate back to face your mat. Come back into a little bit of motion, moving through the ball of the foot, directing the energy deeper into the calf muscle and up the back line of the leg. Go ahead and bend your knee. We'll bring both knees back to center. We come back into table, stepping back this time with the left foot, drawing out through the heel, pressing the ball of the foot into the mat. Pausing here for a couple rounds of breath, just feeling the opening in the back line of the leg, dropping the left hip slightly to square your hips to the front of your mat. From here, we'll go ahead and raise that left leg up, pressing out through the heel, directing out from the hip joint. Good. Toes are pointing directly down. And then draw in through the lower abdominals to engage the core. So don't let the belly stay here. Stay nice and strong in the belly. You can stay here, or you can begin to inhale the right arm out. So really reaching out from the midline, extending out through the fingers and out through the heel of the foot. Gaze is down. Inhale strong, and as you exhale, bend the elbow and the knee rounding under the body. Inhale, lengthen long. Exhale, release, rounding. Inhale, lengthen long. As you exhale, round it out. Good. And inhale, lengthen long. Go ahead and move through about 5 more rounds, moving with your body. Good. Really taking time to extend out in between, not rushing through this motion, but really taking time to feel every part of this practice. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Let's go ahead and extend it nice and long, reaching out with the fingers and the heel of the foot. Go ahead and release your right hand down. Drop that left leg down. We'll center the right hand underneath the chin, and as you exhale, rotate to the left side of your mat, extending out from fingertip to fingertip. You can stay here in supported side plank, or you can begin to extend that left leg out, directing it out from the hip, pressing out through the heel. Stay here once again, or bend the knee, reaching for the ankle, coming into a nice quad stretch and looking over your back shoulder as you're able. About 3 rounds of breath here. Last 2. And last 1. Let's go ahead and release and rotate back to face the mat. And then come into just a little bit of movement by rocking forward and backward on the ball of the foot, taking this a little deeper into the calf muscle and opening up through the back line of the leg. Good. Go ahead and bring it back to center, and then we'll begin to transition into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We start by rolling the fingertips to the palms of the hands. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Press evenly between the ring finger and the thumb, directing energy up through the arms, engaging the shoulders and letting the shoulders roll back and down. Tuck your toes, bend your knees, and when you're ready, coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We'll start by treading through the feet, coming into mobile dog. So this is your time to kind of ebb and flow in between plank and dog, treading through the feet, maybe extending one leg up, opening up the hip, maybe coming into some hip circles. So you've got options here. So we've got about 5 rounds of breath just to find some fluid movement. So whatever feels really good to you. And then when you come into your 3, 2, and last breath, go ahead and mindfully begin to release the crown toward your mat. Sit bones high to the sky, shoulder blades rolling back and down, pressing the earth away from the body, and then in time, allowing your heels to release toward your mat. We've got about 3 more rounds of breath here, really feeling that nice deep opening along the back line of legs, coming into hamstrings. Last 3, last 2, And last one. Mindfully begin to walk your feet forward toward your hands. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. And go ahead and bring our hands to our shins. This helps to allow a little bit more length in the spine. So as we come into half forward fold, we want to keep the shoulder blades rolling back and down. The gaze is down. There's space between the crown and the tailbone. And the spine is neutral. So in this pose, think of more cow than cat. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. Go ahead and release down all the way, coming into full forward fold. Now as you allow the torso to melt over the legs, you can bend the knees really strongly here for more decompression through the spine. You can also begin to wrap onto opposite elbows. You can shake your head no. You can nod your head yes. You can walk your hands under your feet for gorilla. You can also wrap the hands behind the calves and in time begin to straighten out through the legs. So you've got a lot of options here. We're going to have a few rounds of breath here just to allow the body to melt into this pose. So really letting the body release. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Go ahead and keep that bend in the knees, or if you didn't already have that, go ahead and take a slight bend in the knees, and then we'll inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. Palms come together, and exhale, release, heart space. Once you're here, take a pause, allow the eyes to soften and close, and we come back to our intention. Take 3 breaths at heart space, each inhale, drawing the power and the positivity of your attention. And as you release the breath, share the positive vibrations with the world. So we draw in the positive and we share the positive. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. Go ahead and bring a soft gaze to your eyes and inhale the hands up through the midline. As you exhale, celebrate the beginning of a beautiful day. We've got 2 more just like that. Inhale, draws up, and exhale, release. Last 1 here. And release. Arms come to the side. Begin to reach your fingertips toward the earth and then rotate your palms outward. Shoulders roll back and down. And then take a peek down to your feet, either heels and toes touching or space. Either is okay. If you have a slight space in between your feet, go ahead and draw your toes slightly together. And then come back to center. Begin to draw your toes up off the mat. Spread them wide, creating spaces. Nice wide spaces in between the toes. And then mindfully begin to release them down. Begin to contract your quadricep muscles, drawing them up, and then imagine your thighs drawing slightly together. So internal rotation with the upper thighs. Tailbone releases down. Shoulders rolling back and down, palms facing outward. Good. Slight bend to the knees. Inhale, the arms move up overhead. As you exhale, heart space. From heart space, inhale up to midline. As you exhale, dive forward, come forward. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Inhale, exhale, deep and forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold, and go ahead and step it back into plank pose. As you come into plank pose, wrists directly underneath the shoulders, slight bend to the arms, so not locking out the joints, and the heels draw away from the body. Breathe in, breathe out, creating just a little bit of strength in the body. And then go ahead, we'll take a modified variation here. So go ahead and drop to the knees. Keep your arms close to your side, bend your elbows, and lower all the way down to the chest. The thumbs move to the top of the ribs. The shoulder blades are rolling back and down, and the elbows are over the wrists. Go ahead and walk your feet one at a time away from your body, creating space in the low back. Press the top of the feet firmly into the mat. Engage your quadricep muscles, drawing them away from your mat. And as you inhale, think of lengthening along through the spine. So this is a lengthening, not a lift. As we come into our back bends, we're creating space in between the vertebrae. So back bends, we're creating more space. We're lengthening the spine. So when you're moving into your back bends, in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine yourself lengthening. So the spine is lengthening. Couple rounds of breath here. And release it all the way down. Keep the knees bent. Press your hands into the mat. Go ahead and bring yourself into table position. And from table position, go ahead and tuck the toes and send the sit bones high, down dog. Go ahead and find a little bit of dynamic movement, treading through the feet, rotating, moving between plank and dog. And then we'll go ahead and bring the sit bones back. We come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. From here, go ahead and walk forward towards your feet, coming into Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold.
Inhale, exhale, deepen forward fold. Bend the knees, inhale the arms up overhead, palms come together, exhale, release, heart space. From heart space, inhale up to the midline. As you exhale, dive forward, come forward, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Inhale, exhale, deepen forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Root your hands, mindfully step back, plank pose. Heels draw away from the body, again, wrists underneath the shoulders. From here, we're gonna come into full form, coming down through chaturanga. But if you know that's not the best part of your practice, you can certainly drop to the knees. So for those of you coming down through chaturanga, rolling forward on the toes, bending the elbows, and lowering slowly down. Chest touches first, ideally, and we come all the way down. Thumbs come to the top of the ribs, shoulder blades are rolling back and down, elbows over the wrists. Creating space in the low back, pressing the top of the feet into your mat. And once again, as you inhale, lengthening long through the spine. So I'm going to go ahead and cue that out the first couple of rounds we do. And from that point on, muscle memory kicks in and you remember to take those positions with your body. We've got a couple rounds of breath here. And as you come into more opening in the spine, if you want to challenge yourself by bringing your hands up off your mat, see if you can maintain that lift. You can also press your palms lightly into the mat to create just a little bit more opening. So if you're not quite warmed up yet, then that's okay. You can begin to move them out in time. Mindfully go ahead and release down. Tuck the toes, press yourself up through plank, unless you're coming up into that modified variation, and then drawing the sit bones up and back down dog. Go ahead and again begin to tread through the feet, create a little bit of movement. Come back to stillness and go ahead and step forward toward your feet. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Inhale, exhale, deepen forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale the arms up overhead, palms come together, exhale, release, heart space. Go ahead and take a pause here, soften the eyes. Feel the rhythm of the heart beating beneath the hands at heart space. Come back to center. Good. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more fluid movement to your flow. So from here, hands at heart space. Inhale the hands up through the midline. As you exhale, celebrate the beginning of a beautiful day. Arms rest at your side, fingertips reach toward the earth, palms rotate outward, heart space shines. Go ahead and step the heels and toes touching, unless you have any issues in your body that prevent you from stepping the feet closer together. We're going to come into a little bit more movement, a little bit more flow. So heels and toes touching, shoulders are rolling back and down, palms rotating outward. Slight bend to the knees, inhale the arms move up overhead, and as you exhale, bend to the ankles, knees, and hips, Utkatasana chair. Take a peek down because you can see your toes. If you can't see your toes, work toward that spine is nice and neutral. And pause here, building some more dynamic heat in the body. Palms come together, inhale, exhale, sit a little deeper in your chair. Pause here, and again, we inhale, exhale, twisting to the right. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, twist to the left. Inhale brings us back to center, stepping back with the right foot, crescent lunge. As you come into crescent lunge, make sure you have your grounding. Knee to ankle alignment, knees tracking the second and third toe, pressing out through the back heel. You can stay here or inhale the hands up through the midline and open up your heart. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, releasing down through the midline. And you can use blocks here if you need them, or you can come all the way down to the earth. So again, I want you to find that just right space for you. So if you don't have blocks, you can certainly just place your hands alongside the front foot. So coming into that practice is best for you. We'll take a pause here and breathe. We're going to come into a twist again. We're going to root down with the right hand. Inhale, exhale, twist to the right. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, twist to the left. Inhale brings us back to center. Stepping back into plank pose. Draw the heels away from the body. Wrists directly underneath the shoulders. And then from here, once again, rolling forward on the toes, bending the elbows. This time, we're going to scoop the chest all the way through the gate of the shoulders, dropping to the top part of the feet. Now, again, you can go to any of those previous positions if that's better for your body. We come into upward facing dog. One more breath here. Rolling on the toes, drawing sit bones up and back, down dog. Go ahead and take a moment here and tread through the feet, creating just a bit of movement and release. Come back to stillness and walk, hop, or step your feet forward to meet your hands. Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. And inhale, exhale, deepen forward fold. Bend the knees, inhale the arms up overhead. Palms come together, exhale, release, heart space. From heart space, inhale up to the midline. As you exhale, celebrate the beginning of a beautiful day. 2 more. Last breath. Good. And we come back to center. Heels and toes touching, getting ready for the second side. Slight bend to the knees. Inhale the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bend to the ankles, knees, and hips. Utkatasana chair. Draw the sit bones back. Take a peek down at your toes to see if you can see your toes and work toward that. It may not be today. And then we'll inhale, exhale, bring the palms together, sit a little deeper in the chair. Listen carefully. Inhale, exhale, twist to the left. Maybe this time through opening up through the arms, opening the heart space. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, twist to the right. And again, taking that option of opening up the heart by extending out with the fingers. Inhale brings us back to center. This time stepping back with the left foot for crescent lunge. As you come into crescent lunge, knee to ankle alignment, knees tracking the second and third toe, back heel raised, and breathe. Inhale up to the midline. As you exhale, extend out, open and expand the heart space energy. Bring your gaze upward to challenge your practice. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, down through the midline, and release your hands on either side of that front foot. Again, using props, blocks, books, Tupperware, whatever you have if you need them. Pause here and breathe. Root the left hand into the earth or your blocks and twist to the right. Inhale brings us back to center. As you exhale, twist to the left. Inhale brings us back to center. Step it back into plank pose. And from plank pose, we'll roll forward on the toes, bend the elbows and lower all the way down, scooping the chest through the gate of the shoulders. Shoulder blades are rolling back and down, heart space is shining. Now again, you have the option here to just drop to the knees and come down through Bhujangasana Cobra. So coming into your best practice. Roll on the toes, send the sit bones up and back, downward facing dog. And we go ahead and tread it out just a bit, creating some movement. Come back to stillness, shoulder blades rolling back and down, lengthening out through the spine. 1 more breath here, and walk hopper. Step your feet forward, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Inhale, exhale, deepen forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale the arms up overhead, palms come together, exhale, release heart space. Take a pause here. If you need to take a water break, go ahead and take some time to drink water as you need to, and then join us when you're done with your water break. Hands at heart space, inhale the hands up through the midline. As you exhale, celebrate the beginning of a beautiful day. 2 more, inhale up, and exhale, release, last breath here, and inhale, and release it out, let it go. Good. From here, we'll bring our hands back to heart space. Inhale the hands up through the midline. And as you exhale, go ahead and step the left foot back, coming into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Now as you come into this pose, we have heel to arch alignment. Front knee is bent, knee is tracking the second and third toe. Begin to bring your gaze along the front middle finger. Good, and breathe. Go ahead and flip the top arm up, reach forward, draw back, reverse warrior, opening up that heart. And as you exhale, we'll go ahead and bring it back down to the knee, expand the top arm up overhead and bring it alongside the body for extended side angle. Inhale brings us back to center and release. We rotate mindfully to the other side. This time we have the left foot forward, right heel in, heel to arch alignment. Sending out from fingertip to fingertip. Go ahead and mindfully begin to bend to that front knee. Torso's right in the midline, and breathe. Flip the top arm up, reach forward, draw back, reverse warrior, opening up your heart. As you exhale, bring it right back down to center, extending over that front knee. Bring your elbow to that front knee and bring the top arm alongside the head and neck. So extending up or alongside the head and neck for a nice opening of the side body. Extended side angle. Inhale brings us back to center. Both feet draw forward. Outside edge of the foot is parallel with the outside edge of your mat. Inhale the arms up overhead, and as you exhale, release the palms behind the body. Draw the palms together, draw the shoulder blades together. Inhale brings your gaze up, and as you exhale, come forward. Inhale brings us back to center. Draw the arms up overhead, and as you release them behind the body 1 more time, changing the interlace of the palms. Shoulder blades draw together, palms draw together. Inhale, bring your gaze up, and as you exhale, come forward. Now once you're here, you can begin to release your hands to the earth. A little bit more space through the body. We'll inhale, creating space, and as you exhale, releasing the crown of the head toward the earth. Now, if the crown doesn't come all the way there, you can certainly grab a block or support to place underneath it. You can also begin to walk your hands behind the body. And for those of you wanting to come into an inversion, you can also prepare for tripod if you're ready to move into an inversion. So we've got about 5 rounds of breath here to find that your very best practice, whatever that is. Giving yourself some time, whether you're coming into a forward fold, you're inverting into tripod, or you're releasing completely to the earth. So again, finding that just right space for your body. And we've got about 3, last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and bring it back to center. And we're going to walk ourselves over to the left side of the mat, coming back into a high lunge. From here, we're going to lower the back knee down. I'm going to pause here for just a moment, and then you're going to inhale the arms up overhead. So coming into an open heart expression and breathe. We're going to release. Set your hands on either side of that front foot. Step that front foot back, coming into plank pose. Throw the sit bones up and back, down dog. Go ahead and tread through the feet. And then go ahead and come back to stillness. Drop to the knees, release the hips toward the heels. Come into 5 rounds of breath in child's pose. As you inhale, creating space, and as you exhale, create the depth. So releasing your body 1 breath at a time. Last 3. And last breath. Go ahead and walk your hands back toward your body. We'll extend the legs out. We'll come into another forward fold. So as we come into Dandasana, the shoulder blades are rolling back and down, palms resting at your side bodies. And just take a moment here, finding a nice neutral spine. And then before we come into Paschimottanasana, forward fold, we're going to bend mindfully through the right leg. We're going to begin to cross it over the body. We'll draw the knee in toward the body, allow the shoulder blades to roll back and down. And just take a moment or two here, releasing, coming back to stillness. And begin to release. Inhale the right arm up and release it behind the body, looking over your back shoulder, coming into a twist. As you inhale, create space, and as you exhale, create more depth in that twist. If you have a little bit more to give, you can place the left elbow on the outside edge of the right knee, coming into a salute. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and mindfully bring it back to center and release. We'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Coming back into that long spine, and then begin to bend the left knee, placing the sole of the foot on the outside edge of the right hip. Place the hands on the knee and draw the knee in toward the body. I'll take 1 more round of breath here. Inhale the left arm up, and as you exhale, release it behind the body, looking over your back shoulder. As you inhale, creating space, and as you exhale, create more depth in that twist. If you have a little bit more to give, you can begin to place the right elbow on the outside edge of the left knee. As you inhale, creating space, and as you exhale, creating more depth. So coming into a salute. Take 1 more round of breath here. And then with the next inhale, go ahead, mindfully bring that left hand back to center, hug that knee in, and release. Brings us right back into Dandasana, and we come into a forward fold. As you inhale, create space. And as you exhale, creating depth. So mindfully begin to walk your hands closer toward your feet. And mindful movements, just coming in a little bit at a time until you find that full depth of the pose. And take about 5 rounds of breath here. So taking those 5 rounds of breath however you need to. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and walk it back to center, bend the knees, and we'll go ahead and come down onto the back. So bringing the arms out in front, palms face each other, and releasing down with integrity, 1 vertebra at a time. Bring the arms up overhead, extend it nice and long, fingers and toes reach away from the midline. 1 more big, beautiful breath here, and as you exhale, draw the knees into the body, create a little bit of movement from side to side or front to back. To close our practice today, we're going to come into 2 sets. So we're going to come into Setu Bandha Bridge Pose, and then we'll be following that up with upward facing wheel. So you have the option to do 2 sets of Setu Bandha if you choose to, or you can come into 2 sets of wheel, or 1 of bridge and 1 of wheel. So whichever you choose to close your practice. So for those of you coming into Setu Bandha Bridge Pose, I'll go ahead and cue for that. And then you can do a second set of the same pose, or you can come into upward facing wheel. So depending on where your practice is today. So we'll start by walking the feet closer back toward the sit bones. The feet are about hip distance apart. Now you can change that spacing if you need to for your practice. The shoulder blades are rolling back and down, and the arms are resting at your side. We're going to begin to inhale, and as you exhale, I want you to begin to release the flat of the back into your mat. So you'll feel a little bit of activation in the core. And then with the next inhale, draw the knees away from the body and allow the hips to rise. And stay here for a few rounds of breath. And as you come into this pose, there's a natural chin lock toward the chest. If you choose to move into a few rounds of Ujjayi breath, oceanic breath, in through the nose and out through the nose, it makes a slight hissing sound or rustling, or the sound if you put your ear to a shell. So move through a few rounds of this breath. And as you continue to breathe into the body, if you choose to move a little bit deeper, you can begin to walk one shoulder and then the other underneath the body, interlacing the hands. Keep your gaze at your navel, so not moving the head from side to side, and then continue to breathe, allowing the heart space to expand and open here. We've got about 5 more rounds of breath here. Last 3, last 2, and last breath. Let's go ahead and roll down onto the back. Come in through a little bit of pelvic rocking here, releasing through the low back. Now, from here, we can move through either a second set of Setu Bandha, or we can bend to move it up into upward facing wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate wheel, but you have the option to come right back into Setu Bandha Bridge Pose if you choose to. So if you're setting up for wheel, the knees are bent, and you're going to begin to make sure your hair is out of the way. The fingertips are going to reach away from the body, and the palms of the hands are close into the head and neck. So the palms are about underneath the elbows, and you're about shoulder distance apart. So making sure you have good contact with your mat. Now, if you've never done upward facing wheel before, you can watch me demonstrate it, and then in your own time, you can begin to figure out if that's the best practice for you or not. So when you're ready, begin to push your feet into the mat and begin to direct the knees away from the body, allowing the hips to rise. And we begin to come into upward facing wheel. I'm just going to hang out here for a few rounds of breath. Back bends are really energizing for the body. They release and energize at the same time. So I'm just going to hang out here for a few rounds of breath. Last 3, last 2, and last 1. To come out, I want you to begin to mindfully come down and just allow your body to roll back down. So coming into it, in and out with integrity. And then we'll go ahead and place the feet mat distance apart and just allow the knees to cascade from side to side. So giving your low back a little bit of release. So come into the side to side motion, even if your natural inclination is to come into drawing the knees into the body. I want you just to take a moment and release from side to side before you tuck those knees in. Then once you're even on both sides, we'll go ahead and come back to center. Now you can go ahead and draw those knees in and release that. So maybe coming into some rocking motion. If this rocking motion carries you into plow pose or shoulder stand, just taking a moment here to find and follow the natural instincts of your body. So I've got about 3 to 5 rounds of breath here, just to kind of follow that natural ebb and flow of your body. And then mindfully begin to release the body back to center. And you have arrived in Shavasana. So set up for Shavasana is Shavasana is traditionally practiced on the back, with the shoulders rolling back and down, gently tucking underneath the body, palms facing upward, feet gently rolling out to the side. But if you'd rather take a different position, maybe curling up onto your side, even coming onto the belly for belly down Shavasana, you have a lot of options here. So I want you to find the very best place for your body. I'm going to go ahead and cue with traditional Shavasana. So go ahead and set up for your Shavasana. Begin to allow the eyes to soften and close, closing off outside distractions and coming back to the content and quality of your breath right now.
Observing how your breath is moving through your body. Slow, steady breathing, letting the breath begin to slow and deepen. And as you begin to connect with the breath, each inhale, creating more space in mind and body, and each exhale, finding that beautiful surrender of letting go. Grounding down, rooting to the earth, feeling a sense of stability. And then what you begin to do is find movement in your body if you need to. And let that last residual bit of energy release. You bring awareness to the soles of your feet. Bring awareness to your ankles, your shins, your calves. Bring awareness into your hips, your torso, and your spine. Allow the shoulders to gently roll back and tuck underneath the body, palms facing upward. Send the energy out through the fingertips. Bring your awareness into your neck. And let that awareness move up from the neck, into the scalp, the crown of the head. Bring your awareness to your forehead, letting your forehead relax. Relaxing the orbital sockets of the eyes. And the jaw relax in the mouth. And letting your tongue rest naturally on the palate. As you breathe, breathe wholly from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Let every space in your body fill with prana and life force. And as you release the breath, I want you to root to the earth, to feel that sense of grounding. As you inhale, space, and as you exhale, root and ground. And as you root and ground, coming to a space of center of whole, I want you to visualize the space from side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Tell yourself, I am balanced, I am whole, I am firmly rooted to the earth. And take one more big, beautiful breath here. And as you sigh that breath out, knowing that you have arrived in the most beautiful, perfect place to be, Shavasana. And you can stay here as long as you need to. From my heart to yours, your peace. Namaste.